Compound interest is slightly different to simple interest. The main difference with compound interest is that it actually grows each year. So what happens is, in the first year, the interest is calculated from the principal amount. But then in the second year, the interest is calculated from the first year. And in the third year, it is calculated from the second year's amount. So that's why the interest continues to grow as each year progresses. So there's actually a really simple formula to calculating compound interest, which is up on the board here. So when we are looking at this formula, the P stands for the principal amount or the starting amount. The R stands for the interest rate, and of course this is written in decimal form. The N refers to the number of times each year that the investment is compounded. So sometimes it's yearly, which would be once a year. Sometimes it's semi-annually, twice a year, quarterly, which would be 4 times a year, monthly, weekly, so on. So the N is the number of times each year it is compounded. Now there is an N over here, it is the exact same N there, so they mean the exact same thing. And finally our T stands for time, so usually written in years. Here's an equation we are going to work out together. How much would an investment with a principal amount of $92,000 grow to if it was compounded quarterly at an interest rate of 7.2% per annum after 5 years? Now, per annum also means per year. We can use our formula here and get the information out of our question to help us work out this answer. So, our principal amount is $92,000, so we can put that in our equation. We multiply by brackets 1 plus. We need to find our interest rate, 7.2%. We need to convert that into a decimal. So it's going to be 0.072 divided by our number of times a year it is compounded. It is compounded quarterly, which is 4 times a year. So it's divided by 4, close the bracket. Then we need to do n times t. So we know n was 4. Multiplied by t, the number of years, is 5 years. Now that we've got this equation, I'm going to simplify it a little bit more. So I'm going to use my calculator to figure out what 0.072 divided by 4 equals, and I'm also going to figure out what 4 times 5 equals. So with the help of my calculator, I worked out that 0.072 divided by 4 equals 0.018. And I also worked out that 4 times 5 is 20. So this is what my equation reads now. I'm going to go ahead and add these numbers together to simplify the equation again. Finally, I've made my way to this equation. Now, I can't do any of this in my head anymore, and this is where a scientific calculator comes into play. So if you download Calculator on your iPad, flip your iPad to landscape mode, you'll see you have a scientific calculator waiting there for you. I'll show you just how to plug in this equation on your calculator now. 92,000 multiplied by, I need to open the brackets, and you'll see the brackets button is the top left hand corner. 1.018, close the bracket, then I click on that little XY symbol, that means to the power of, and then I plug in 20. And there you have it. The answer is $131,444.79. Because this equation has to do with money, I just rounded it off to 2 decimal places. Do you reckon you're ready to smash out how to calculate compound interest? Well, if so, pause the video on the next slide and have a go at this next equation. So you figured out how to calculate compound interest, but what happens when the question is actually asking you to find the principal amount? Let's have a look at this equation. If an investment grew to a value of $9,800 over a period of 6 years, at an interest rate of 8% per annum, compounded semi-annually, what was the initial value of the investment? Well, we can actually use our formula to figure out this question. So, let's have a go at rewriting it. Instead of looking for A this time, we're actually going to be looking for P. So the equation's going to look a little bit like this. Our A is actually equal to our $9,800. Because we're still trying to find our P, I'm just going to write a P down. This part stays the same. Our R stands for our rate. We're at 8% per annum, so 0.08. We're compounding semi-annually, which means twice per year. So our N is 2. Then of course we do the same 2 up here. And we multiply it by the number of years. And we can see that it was over a period of 6 years. So this is what our equation looks like now. I'm going to go ahead now and simplify this with using my calculator. So I'm going to figure out what 0.08 divided by 2 equals, and I'm also going to figure out what 2 times 6 equals. Now our equation looks a little bit like this, but I'm going to go ahead again and simplify it some more, because I know that 1 plus 0.04 is going to equal 1.04. So check out what I do now. Now, this is where you need your calculator in hand. We are going to figure out what 1.04 to the power of 12 equals. Using my calculator, I worked out that 1.04 to the power of 12 is 1.601. We still need to try to get P out of this equation. So what I do is I divide 1.601 by 1.601. And what I do on this side of the equation, I must do on this side of the equation. Now this one simply cancels itself out, and then I just need to work out on my calculator what 9,800 divided by 1.601 equals. And there you have it, $6,121.17 equals my principal starting amount. Now, if you think you are ready to smash out how to find the principal amount, pause the video on the next slide and have a go at this equation.